Hi, movie friends. Welcome to the channel where we love to talk about movies. I hope you're having a great day. Welcome if you're new. Today we are here to talk about Conclave. I just got back from seeing it at the theater, so I just wanted to share my thoughts with you all. Yeah, I'll start off and just give kind of my rating of the film without going into spoilers. And then once we start getting into specifics of the film, I'll let you know in case you haven't seen it yet. But if you're looking for my recommendation on the film, then I would say that this is an A for me for sure. It was a very good drama. I thought that it had me invested the whole way through. I'm not entirely sure how like realistic it is or how many liberties they take with it. Even I grew up Catholic, but it's not like I've ever sat in on the process of electing Pope, so I can't say for sure how many liberties they're taking, but as a film, and aside from whether or not it may or may not be very accurate as to how that typically goes, I thought it was interesting. It felt kind of like Game of Thrones politics meets the Catholic Church setting, which for me worked. I thought it was good. So I thought the performances across the board were very good. And yeah, the music, while not like the most thematic or varying of themes, it really set the mood for the film. So if you have a chance to see it, I definitely recommend it. And with that, we'll get into my more specific thoughts. So if you don't want to know anything more than that on the film, go check it out and then come back. And yeah, with that, we'll get into other things. So I really liked is it Ray Fiennes, I think is how you say his name. I thought he was a fantastic lead. I really liked kind of the complexity of his character, that he's a cardinal who sort of lost faith in the church and really doesn't want to be there, but he still has very much a he has like a moral compass, is still trying to do his job even though he'd rather not, and things like that. So I think those are the sort of people who tend to do the best job. Like, it didn't surprise me that he was getting support from the other Cardinals and he was gaining votes. Like the I forget the Cardinals' specific names, although I think his was Lawrence, but it was a Bellini, the one that's played by Stanley Tucci. Like from the beginning, he's like, "Oh, I don't want it, I don't want it." But like as soon as the vote started happening, you could see he clearly wanted it. And I don't know if he truly. I got the impression he was just kind of saying that he didn't want it. I think he but maybe not. I don't know. It was a little hard to tell if that was just kind of a ploy to make people think he wasn't really interested in it, even though he was. But I mean, it's interesting either way, whether or not he genuinely didn't want it. And then, like, once he realized it was a possibility to actually, like, start caring about it, I think that's a very human thing to do. And obviously, I think he's more passionate about the where the church would go with who's leading it, and I think he would want to lead it more to make sure that it doesn't go in a direction that he doesn't want to see, not necessarily because like he wants to be the person to take it there. So yeah, but then it was just interesting seeing kind of the different dynamic of the different cardinals. And yeah, I think from like what I understand of Catholicism, it's believable that they didn't take too many liberties with this. I would have expected there to be more like open the Cardinals. I thought it was for me it was unexpected, but maybe that is how it goes, where they just kind of they like go and vote, and then they come and vote the next day, and it's really just like the votes that gives you like information, and then people sort of talking outside of show a whole lot of that. They showed Lawrence going around and digging stuff up, but yeah, I would have expected there to be like more debates and open discussion amongst the Cardinals. And because you'd think if people had a chance to speak, like you'd get a speech like you do from towards the end. And yeah, I forget the Cardinal's name, but the one who ends up getting elected Pope, um, when they give the that speech, then yeah, the like that's what did it. And I thought it played really well. Like for you're like maybe Lawrence got the votes, but I was pretty sure he didn't, and I was pretty sure I knew how the votes were going to swing. But I think that was the I did not see that coming. That that Cardinal was like the final reveal of the film, because I think that's also what keeps this as a good drama, is like there's a lot of mysteries, like um, so they sprinkle those throughout, who's up to what, and like anytime you can have, I think mysteries are popular for a reason, because they keep you invested when they're done right, and I thought this was done right. But one that was not even like a mystery, but it was a reveal in the end, is the cardinal who becomes Pope Innocentius, that yeah, if, or he's basically, yeah, he has a uterus and ovaries, and I don't know if he ever actually says what um his pronouns are. I'm gonna keep saying he him, because I think that's sort of, I think like my read on the final discussion is like he embraces that, even though he's kind of not that, he's kind of in between, um, and that is, yeah, I think I don't like I'd be very curious to see like where like the Catholic Church would go in that situation under that Pope. I think it would be, yeah, really, really interesting. But it didn't surprise me that that Lawrence like got on board by the end with that. I think it helped, like hearing that the previous pope had supported this cardinal through, like, since being a priest, through like making him a cardinal and things like that. I think I also wasn't like super surprised by the end that they got elected pope. I'll probably bounce between they and he. I'm kind of in between, but I don't know. I think using different ones there have kind of slightly different meanings and significance, and I think they're both kind of significant in their own way and in a good way. But the I had a feeling that, like, once started off with like one vote, and then the next vote had two, and then four. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the underdog who comes out of nowhere, and everyone's like, okay, this is actually a good option once people start to get to know him. But yeah, I think that was just interesting, and I liked kind of leaving the movie with that sort of like thought experiment of what if someone yeah, what if we had a pope like that? I think that would be really interesting. I think um but I think even knowing that, I think a lot of the Cardinals who voted for him would still vote for him again, because of like the message that he would bring, and like what he would support in the church. And yeah, wouldn't have been surprised where my mind went when the bomb went off, and then the other like the Italian cardinal, I forget his name, but he like used that as a like to strengthen his ground and be like, we're in a holy war, which is, yeah, definitely, I think, very extreme. I would not have been surprised if he had like orchestrated that, which is like a horrible thing to think of and accuse somebody of. But like he was assuming, I'd have to go back and rewatch it, but I don't think like a gender. I don't even know if a gender was said. I think very much so a race wasn't said for uh who made the explosion go off. But he just like attached it to Islam, which I think is absolutely horrible. Like I don't think it was said, and then to jump to conclusions, and even if it was, to if it happened to be a single individual, to then tie that to the religion. And yeah, it's just, I think it is unfortunate to see that, and like to see that mindset take on as much support as it did until um the one who, yeah, until the other cardinal spoke up and was like, no, we like, you don't if you haven't been in war, you're not going to be calling out for a holy war. Let me tell you, like, I've seen war. You don't want war. We want peace. And I thought that was a really good speech, and that's yeah, a really good message too. So yeah, other things, I think those are most of my thoughts. I think, yeah, the third act was really interesting, but or the ending, I don't know, it didn't really feel like acts. It just kind of moved along. But Yeah, I think I still like I'm curious to do more research for how true to like a real life scenario of that is. I knew some things, like I feel like they maybe didn't explain everything. You probably can pick up on some things. Like I'm aware that they when they take a vote and a consensus or a majority isn't received, then they use like black smoke, and that's what they were like, those canisters. It was black smoke, and then when they do get a majority vote, it's white smoke, and that's how they let everybody else know, and that's like how the word spreads. So I think like I don't think they directly explained that. Maybe they did, and I just tuned it out because I already knew. But there's yeah, I'd be curious for somebody who's not familiar with anything like Catholicism, what the experience is. For me, it was interesting. It does feel kind of fictionalized, but within the realm of believable, which I think is a good place to be for a movie to kind of keep it interesting and keep the drama, but also introduce some real life elements. But yeah, if you had a chance to see the film, though, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Did you like it as much as I did, or did it not really hit the mark for you? I could definitely see it going both ways, just because of how specific the subject matter is. But I think that aside, like the fact that it is heavily into the Catholic religion, I think it is just a good and interesting drama, and yeah, worth the watch. So, share your thoughts down below. And with that, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.